I'm going to be philosophizing on the first consumer and the first consumer as the self in terms of consumption and the meanings of consumption that are intrinsic to sustaining our psychological sustainability, and which proliferates a deeper and greatening sense of meaning that's intrinsic to the nature of consumption that has direct forms of knowledge through our tastes and our flavorings of various qualia of thingness and direct experiences that are associated with our ingestions and our digestions, as well as our various states and patterns of consumption, or even individual instances or events of consumption in which we consume foods or consumables or other substances, both material or immaterial substances that have an impact on our material and immaterial psychologies, in which our mind is processing and working through metabolisms of often these resources and sourcings of meanings that are much deeper than the direct onset of consumption or act of consumption in involving consuming and consuming meaning, as well as often material things. Though it's not always material things, because we consume in the form of knowledge or meaning in terms of symbol or representative character, in which we make sense of the world and the surroundings through our volitional consciousness. And we tend to digest knowledge as well as information and meaning in association with our uh, volitional minds that tend to also source and resource goods and necessities in relation to our knowledge and our self knowing that allows us to cultivate a deeper sense of positive well being, as well as to diminish states of ill well being with negative qualities direct to our experience that involve what it's like to have a negative experience, or what it's like to have a positive experience and a positive expanding experience that often occurs through knowledge and a deeper thoughtfulness of the thingness that surrounds us in our relation to our own existence in terms of its finitude, as well as potential infinite possibilities for immortalizing our psychologies and our psyches in relation to the volitions of our mind and our intrinsic freedom of conscience and consciousness that is deeply connected and concerned with the goods and necessities and necessitating aspects of our existence, as well as what we endeavor and aspire towards, often through our ideations and our own philosophizings or contemplations of our existential existence and position in the relation to the goods and necessities of existence that tends to make life more worthwhile and enjoyable, and tends to promote this deeper sense of virtue and strengthening in relation to a desire to continue our own existences, and particularly our consciousness and the workings of our mind into the future through often this more optimistic orientation that is more likely to occur and to increase in frequency as we engage more in these meaningful conscious forms of consumption that recognize the various relations and dynamics, and also the uh, optimizers and what psychologically sustains us as individuals through the direct consumption of various materials or immaterial substances